Hi, my name is Kamal Hassan, Director of Product Management at Protecode. Today I'd like to show you how to work with license policies in Protecode System 4. Policies are the set of criteria that determine which licenses are acceptable and unacceptable for a given software project. In System 4, the policy acts as a filter on the files that are being analyzed. Once the files have been analyzed once, you can apply a new policy and reanalyze these files in a fraction of the original analysis time. Let's see how it works. This is the basic screen for entering information to describe your licensing policy. Let's look at each of the areas in detail. In the section named Full File Match Minimum Size, you can adjust the threshold for the smallest size of file that will be analyzed. If you have a lot of small files you consider not to be significant in terms of licensing, you can adjust this threshold to suppress the reporting of those files. If you set the threshold too high, you might miss important files. And if you set the threshold too low, you may get too many false positive results that are not meaningful. By default, the threshold is set to a file size of 20 lines or 500 characters. You can use that as a start value and adjust it as required. System 4 will scan for both full file matches as well as partial file matches, where segments of public code may have been copied and used in your system. The partial file match sensitivity slider gives you the ability to set the granularity of the partial file match detection by determining the relative size of individual code segments that are matched. The sensitivity setting is on a 1 to 10 scale where the default is 5. The most sensitive setting is 10, and setting the slider to 0 turns off partial matching altogether. In some cases, there may be files in your system that contain common code across multiple files. For example, this can occur when there is machine-generated boilerplate code which you may want to ignore. System 4 provides a filtering tool which identifies these common code segments and ignores them in the output reports. There are two types of common code filters. The first is called a local group, which is a list of code segments that you have chosen to previously ignore. The other common code filter is labeled Protecode IP server, which refers to the code segments that Protecode has identified as being common code or auto-generated. In the area labeled Acceptable Licenses and Copyrights, System 4 lets you identify the licenses that your organization has approved, so that any code matches under those licenses will not be reported as policy violations. You can tag licenses as acceptable by clicking the OSI license button. Any licenses that are not explicitly selected as accepted will be marked as violations. In addition to the standard list of OSI approved licenses, Protecode detects and identifies thousands of other software licenses. Clicking the Custom Rule button launches a screen to deal with commercial licenses and copyright owners that may be found in your code. For example, you can mark commercial toolkits you have purchased as acceptable while you are using them, and mark them as not acceptable after you're no longer using those toolkits. The first step is to select the rule type. You can pick from either license or copyright. For a license rule type, you can choose either a license from the drop-down list, which will be pre-populated from previous scans, or you can choose custom licenses and type in the license information yourself. It's important to remember that the text you enter in the license name field will be used to exactly match the text in any of the comment sections of the code files, so you have to be specific. For the copyright rule type, adding a rule for a copyright owner allows you to mark files that have header comments with a specific copyright statement as accepted or rejected. Copyright owner is the only required field, and the text you enter will be matched against the comment sections of your files, so you need to be specific. That's it. Now you know how to set up your licensing policy in Protecode System 4, and you're ready to start analyzing your code.